Dealers once bragged about endless waitlists and sky-high markups on pickup trucks. Today, those same lots are overflowing, and managers are quietly slashing prices just to survive. Trucks that used to cost $80,000 are being pushed out the door for less than half that. And the deeper reason isn't generosity. It's desperation. Every markdown you see is really a distress signal flashing from behind the glass. What looks like a dream deal is actually proof that the market has cracked. Factories kept building while families stopped buying, and now the math is eating dealers alive. Floor plan interest, unsold inventory, and broken promises have collided to turn America's most profitable vehicles into financial anchors. And if you think the collapse ends with cheap trucks, think again. The ripple is spreading far wider than the showroom floor. For decades, pickup trucks weren't just vehicles. They were the financial crown jewels of the American auto industry. Each one rolling off the line carried profit margins that rivaled luxury sedans, and buyers lined up happily to pay. Dealers treated them like gold, marking up prices and still selling out. But that era didn't just end. It collapsed almost overnight. Now the same trucks once hailed as untouchable are sitting on lots for weeks, even months. National inventory levels for full-size pickups ballooned into triple-digit days to sell, a number that once would have triggered alarms. Ram and Jeep dealers in particular found themselves staring at more than 100 days' worth of unsold machines. The short supply days of the pandemic feel like ancient history, replaced by rows of metal-gathering dust. What was once a bragging point for executives has become an anchor dragging down the industry. Behind every unsold truck is a hidden clock, and each tick costs money. Dealers don't just park these machines for free. They finance them through what's called floor plan interest. On average, every day a truck sits on the lot bleeds $40 to $50 in carrying costs. Stretch that over 90 or 100 days, and a vehicle that once promised thousands in profit becomes a financial trap, draining the dealer before a single buyer signs the paperwork. Multiply that across dozens of units, and entire dealerships find themselves slowly suffocating under invisible debt. This relentless math explains the sudden desperation. Managers who once boasted about having the biggest selection now quietly order their sales staff to push the oldest inventory first, even if it means slashing prices to the bone. Some are willing to take losses on high trims just to stop the daily hemorrhage. On the surface, it looks like generosity, flashy markdowns, end-of-month blowout sales. But beneath the banners, it's pure survival. Every handshake hides the reality that they're not moving trucks, they're buying time. The electric pickup was supposed to be destiny. Ford rolled out the F-150 Lightning with banners declaring it the future of work, while GM promised electrified Silverados that would change the job site forever. Executives spoke with confidence, predicting endless waitlists and soaring demand. For a moment it looked like the gamble would pay off, until reality arrived. Ford was forced to pause Lightning production altogether, admitting the mix had to be adjusted after buyers pulled back. What was meant to be a revolution started looking like a retreat. And the issues weren't just about demand, they were about performance. Real-world owners quickly learned what glossy ads never mentioned. Towing a trailer could range by nearly half, while cold weather could strip another quarter or more. Contractors who needed reliability discovered that the trucks built for the future struggled with the basics of hauling and distance. Word spread and skepticism grew louder than the marketing. The result? Dealers who once bet big on electric trucks now stare at them like ticking clocks, each unsold unit draining money by the day, symbols of a gamble that backfired. If mainstream electrics struggled, the so-called halo trucks became outright embarrassments. The GMC Hummer EV was unveiled as a six-figure colossus, a rolling showcase of power and technology. But once the hype faded, reality set in. With a curb weight close to 9,000 pounds, it chewed through tires, drained batteries faster than expected, and carried a price tag that made even luxury car buyers shake their heads. What was supposed to be a symbol of American dominance now sits motionless on dealer lots, gathering dust and bleeding carrying costs with every passing day. The story repeated itself with other ultra-luxury pickups. Vehicles like the Escalade IQ or high-trim specialty trucks were priced as if exclusivity alone could guarantee demand. Instead, buyers who could afford six figures realized they preferred machines that actually delivered practicality. Rows of unsold prestige models turned into monuments of hubris, reminders that bigger and flashier doesn't always sell. For dealers, each one became a financial anchor. For automakers, each one a public miscalculation. The halo was supposed to elevate the brand, but instead it burned it. For generations, truck owners trusted their rigs to be bulletproof. Farmers, contractors, and families believed a pickup could take any beating and still keep going. That trust has been shaken. Modern emission systems and experimental technologies have turned what were once dependable workhorses into fragile machines. GM's V8s faced years of controversy over failing lifters, a tiny part that could take down an entire engine. Ford's 10-speed transmissions drew lawsuits and recalls over harsh shifts and safety issues. Even Toyota, a brand synonymous with durability, stumbled with its twin-turbo V6 in the new Tundra. Early recalls and defect claims tarnished what was supposed to be a fresh start. Each of these failures carries more weight than a single repair bill. For the people who depend on trucks to make a living, downtime means lost income and shattered trust. When a contractor's $70,000 pickup limps into the shop after just 30,000 miles, word spreads faster than any marketing campaign. Forums, job sites, and neighborhoods echo the frustration, and every complaint chips away at the myth of indestructibility. Dealers, meanwhile, are left staring at rows of heavy-duty models that buyers now view with suspicion, forced to cut prices just to overcome the doubt. For years, mid-size trucks were marketed as the simpler alternative, the practical choice for buyers who wanted capability without the headaches of a full-size beast. But that promise collapsed once the problems showed up. GM's Colorado and Canyon were plagued with transmission shutters and electronics that acted more like beta software than reliable tools. Hyundai's Santa Cruz, pitched as a stylish crossover pickup hybrid, wound up with dual-clutch transmission recalls that left owners stranded. Even Ford's Ranger stumbled with turbo and gearbox complaints that mirrored its bigger siblings. The result? Buyers who thought they were escaping complexity ended up paying nearly the same sticker price for trucks that broke just as easily, sometimes faster. Instead of peace of mind, they got expensive repairs, poor resale values, and weeks of downtime waiting on parts. Dealerships once counted on mid-size models to move quickly, but now they sit for months, each day draining money and carrying costs. Shrinking the truck didn't shrink the problems, it concentrated them. Some trucks didn't just lose demand, they lost their future altogether. Nissan pulled the plug on the Titan after 2024, quietly ending its run after years of disappointing sales. Ram did the same with the 1500 Classic, wrapping up production and leaving dealers with leftovers from a platform already showing its age. For buyers, that creates an immediate problem. Discontinued trucks turn into orphans. Parts availability shrinks, resale values plummet, and long-term support becomes uncertain. Dealers holding these models know it too. A Titan or Classic left unsold for months becomes nearly impossible to move without deep discounts. Shoppers walk past them, not because the price isn't tempting, but because nobody wants to gamble on a vehicle the manufacturer itself abandoned. What was meant to capture niche markets or stretch old tooling has now turned into inventory that depreciates faster than anything else on the lot. In a market already under pressure, orphan trucks are dead weight. For decades, owning a truck was a milestone, a sign of success, independence, and pride. Families saved for years, contractors justified the payments as an investment, and younger drivers dreamed of their first pickup like it was a rite of passage. But when sticker prices crossed $80,000 and monthly payments ballooned toward $1,200, that dream soured into suffocation. Suddenly, the badge of pride became a ball and chain on household budgets already stretched by food, rent, and fuel. The pain doesn't end at the showroom. Even those who bite the bullet and drive off the lot are hit again when repairs come due. Lifter failures, turbo replacements, and electronic breakdowns stack up bills in the thousands, sometimes before the first loan is even halfway paid. Contractors lose work waiting for parts. Families juggle credit cards to cover both the truck note and the repair shop. What was once the symbol of security has, for many, turned into a financial trap. And every new horror story fuels more hesitation in the next wave of buyers. Walk through the back lot of any dealership today, and you're not just looking at trucks, you're looking at money evaporating. Each unsold pickup drains about $50 a day in floor plan interest. After 120 days, a single truck can rack up nearly $6,000 in hidden costs. And that's before depreciation kicks in. For dealers carrying dozens, sometimes hundreds of units, the math is brutal. What was once a profitable lineup has become a daily bleed of red ink. Managers know it, even if they won't say it out loud. Sales staff are told to push the oldest units first, slashing prices until the losses hurt less than the interest. Some dealers would rather take a hit on the sale than keep paying to let the truck sit. Behind the glossy banners of huge discounts and limited time offers lies a genuine panic. For many stores, survival now depends not on making money, but on losing less of it before the bell comes calling. The pain isn't just on the dealer lots, it's creeping into the boardrooms. Not long ago, automakers poured billions into new plants and electric truck programs, betting that demand would keep climbing forever. Ford, GM, and Volkswagen all promised expansions, new platforms, and an endless wave of innovation. But when buyers pulled back and inventories stacked up, those bold plans quietly unraveled. Projects were delayed, plants cut shifts, and executives started talking less about growth and more about adjustments. For the workers building these trucks, that retreat cuts deep. A single production slowdown can ripple through an entire town, slashing overtime, triggering layoffs, and choking small suppliers who depend on steady orders. What was pitched as unstoppable momentum is now caution, retrenchment, and survival mode. The automakers still speak of the future, but their actions reveal the truth. They're pulling back, protecting margins, and waiting for a market that may not return to what it once was. For generations, a pickup truck was more than a machine. It was a badge. Driving one meant resilience, independence, and belonging to a uniquely American tradition. Ads painted trucks as symbols of strength, freedom, and hard work. But that image is cracking. When neighbors see a $70,000 diesel stuck in limp mode at 40,000 miles, the old pride turns into quiet skepticism. Instead of admiration, ownership now sparks questions. How much is that payment? Or will it even last? The cultural script has flipped. Reliability has become the new badge of honor, and many buyers now brag about keeping older, simpler trucks alive instead of flaunting the latest model. The very icon that once defined identity is losing its shine, replaced by resentment at corporate greed and distrust in promises that fell apart too quickly. What used to be the crown jewel of American roads is becoming a cautionary tale. And if the symbol collapses, the market will follow. Because once the badge loses meaning, the loyalty that sustained it disappears with it. The collapse of the truck market isn't just about metal and money, it's about meaning. The same vehicles that once carried record profits, family pride, and national identity have now exposed the cracks in the system. Overproduction, shaky technology, and reckless pricing collided with shrinking household budgets to turn the industry's crown jewel into its heaviest burden. From orphaned models gathering dust to luxury halos rotting unsold, the signs are everywhere. The old rules no longer apply. But the crash also creates opportunity. Dealers are bleeding under the weight of inventory. Automakers are retreating, and buyers finally hold the cards. If you know where to look, at aged stock, at weak systems that need coverage, at leverage points hiding in plain sight, you can turn a broken market into your advantage. Trucks will always be part of the American story, but whether they remain a symbol of strength or a reminder of failure depends on what happens next. One thing is certain, the badge is changing, and this time the power sits in your hands.